This is getting ridiculous as we've been getting reports all offseason on Quinn Hughes' future. We get two new reports as insiders speak out on Quinn's future with the Vancouver Canucks, and we're going to break down these reports, what it's going to cost for the Canucks to keep Quinn Hughes on this roster, and exactly how this is getting completely out of hand with these insiders. We're going to break down all this and so much more later on this episode. Before we get into that, if you're part of the 58.7% watching this and you haven't hit the sub button yet, make sure to go down and hit it. We'll give you daily updates from all around the Canucks, not only in the offseason, but going into next year. We'll do game recaps, prospect updates, and anything you want to know. So go down and hit that free subscribe button. It means a bunch. But with that, let's just hop straight into this today, where we do know the media insiders have been throwing stuff around about Quinn Hughes, and it hasn't stopped as we got two new reports. The first one coming in of Michael Russo, one of the most respected insiders around the league, primarily with the Minnesota Wild, but he does go in to say the underlying elephant in the room is going to be Hughes' future for a long time. We know New Jersey's going to be trying to get him at some point. Now, we've seen the reports. He's been linked to New Jersey for quite some time, with both his brothers, Luke and Jack, on the Devils, and all three probably wanting to play together at some point, other than the Four Nations, Eight Nations, Olympics, the World Cup, any of this. It does seem like a lot of people are putting it out there that he wants to play with his brothers. We've seen the Vancouver Brass speak on this as well, where Jim went as far as saying is maybe we'll acquire both other Hugheses, but it does seem like this is something that's going to be floating around until pen hits the paper on the next extension. Now, it doesn't stop there, where we do get a second report coming out from James Myrtle, where he goes in via The Athletic and says maybe Vancouver surprises and has a huge bounce back season that convinces their captain to stay. Feels unlikely to me, to be honest. Otherwise, they have to start contemplating what a blockbuster trade might look like. Now with this one, the Russo one, I completely understand. You're looking at this where this will be continuously put into the media by insiders, by executives, whoever it is, putting this out there. This will be news until he signs. But with James Myrtle saying the Canucks need a bounce back, I don't completely agree with this. If the Canucks go in and completely fail to make the playoffs for the next 3 seasons, yes, I'm sure Quinn is going to look at this and say, hey, I would like to go to a winning team. The Vancouver Canucks, who have yet to bring a championship home, might look at this in the sense and we need to go all in. And I think management is really leaning into that. We've seen Evander Kane. They moved a first-round pick to get Elias Pettersson just last year in the JT Miller trade. They're doing everything they can to keep a competitive roster with new faces coming in, extending Demko, keeping Kevin Lankinen. They want to complete a competent roster to compete for a cup. Now, going into this, just say that they want a bounce back season to convince their captain to stay. The New Jersey Devils also haven't been a team that have won a Stanley Cup in quite some time. Yes, they've had competitive seasons, but they haven't had a season just like, say, the Edmonton Oilers or other teams that have won, where this would make Quinn look and say, hey, I want to go there to be competitive. But his brothers are obviously going to continue to be a main point. Now, we know Quinn Hughes has this year and next year on his deal. The Canucks are in a perfect spot to give him an extension. We've seen Jim Rutherford back on May 2nd, 2025 to say, I think a better way of saying that if we control him for a year and 2/3, because if we get to that trade deadline 2 years from now, and it looks like he doesn't want to stay, then we would have to do something at that point. Now, yes, I do agree. If you get to that deadline, Quinn is not going to stay. You need to figure out. You could go the route where we seen with Brock Boeser last season, where they didn't move on from him, and he had a change of heart and did end up coming back. But with Quinn Hughes going into the second last year of this contract, it does get very interesting with the Canucks. The best defenseman, a franchise, the face of this team, Quinn Hughes, does have 2 more years, and I think Canucks fans really need to start looking at that more than if he's going to leave. Now, they do have a big advantage over a lot of teams. First off, we know the forecast of the salary cap is going to continue jumping. 25 and 26, $95.5 million. Jumping all the way to $113.5 million in the year 27-28, which lines up perfectly when Quinn does become a UFA. Now, the Canucks are not going to be worried about not giving him enough money. They're going to back up the blank truck. They'll lay the blank sheet of paper down, put the number, write the check, you'll get it. And this is where Quinn and the Canucks have another clear cut of keeping their 90-point defenseman. Coming off a Norris season, we know, was outstanding last year, 76 points in 68 games. I don't need to preach to the choir on how good Quinn Hughes is, but with the Canucks, with the new CBA coming in, they get a clear-cut advantage. With the new contract limit, 6 years for a free agent signing or 7 years for signing a player who was on the roster at the trade deadline before, the Vancouver Canucks could give Quinn Hughes an 8-year contract, which will never be able to be given out after next offseason, where the Canucks can say, hey, Quinn, we'll give you 8 years, 15 mil per season. This is more than the Devils would be able to offer just that offseason after. The Devils would be able to give him the $15 million, but he loses out on the 2 extra years of security. And at the age going into the UFA as a 27, getting the max term for the max amount is something players are going to look at. Now, looking at this, we know the Canucks are going to have to sign a few guys. A lot of cap space does open up. Tyler Myers' contract is up at the same time as Quinn Hughes. Getting a cheaper contract on Myers leaves extra money to give Quinn. $2 million of Derek Forbort will be up the year prior, but this is still $5 million between Tyler Myers and Derek Forbort off the books. Elias Pettersson, DPD will have to be signed. You'll have to sign Joseph if they keep him as an RFA into the UFA. And there's also multiple other guys on the roster the team will have to sign. But with the cap going up, with the OEL contract finally dropping down to 2.1 after the next 2 seasons, once again lines up with Quinn being a UFA. This gives the Canucks the opportunity to give their captain, their franchise, the best defenseman in team history, and will go down as one of, if not the greatest Canuck, anything he wants to stay on the roster. Now, giving him money, you're going to lose some depth, but the biggest thing is Tom Wilner will still be on his entry-level contract at this point. They'll probably end up giving Victor Mancini a 2-year extension like we've seen with a lot of other players. We've seen it with Podkolzin and Höglander, Linus Karlsson, even Aatu Ratu. A lot of these guys get the cheap 2-year extension where the Canucks evaluate and see where they want to go. Bringing these two guys up can replace someone like Tyler Myers and Derek Forbort in the lineup. You still have Sawyer Minio, who's going to continue to get better. This is a Canucks team that has a lot of guys that will be in the lineup. Braden Coots is another player that could make an impact at this point. But Canucks fans, what is your thoughts on this? Listen, I'm annoyed of talking about it. The media continues to speak on it. Yes, there is a realm where Quinn Hughes is traded or walks from the Vancouver Canucks. We know that at some point, the New Jersey Devils are going to actively try to get him. We see ridiculous reports from James Myrtle just coming out to say that they have to contemplate a blockbuster. At the end of the day, Quinn Hughes is on this roster. He's going to be here for at least the next 2 seasons, and I'm almost confident we've seen Tyler Myers speak on it earlier in this offseason, say Quinn has never made it clear that he wants to leave. He comes, he loves it here, he wants to be here. This is a team that's going to retain him. It's going to keep him. But what is your guys' thoughts on this? Do you think the Vancouver Canucks are going to give him a $15 million contract on an 8-year deal? Do you think Quinn takes a cheaper deal just to be a free agent when Jack gets the free agency? I think just 2 or 3 years after he expires. Let me know down in the comments while you're down there. Leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, so keep your eye out for that. But I've been your host, Mark. Bye, and take care.